Okay, I'm Linda Frank, and I'm a good friend of Linda Taylor's. I'm married to a Doug, and we have a son named Taylor who was born in 1982. And when Taylor was born, he kind of had some eye infection, and we've been doctoring with that and getting some medication, some drops. And it didn't seem to be improving that much, so I took him again for a second appointment, and we got a different type of medication, more of a salve-like medication, and did that for several days, and it wasn't really improving. Anyway, I went in to get him up in the morning when he was 5 weeks old, and here's this little baby in a crib with an eye that's the size of a golf ball. So, of course, we're in a real panic. That also happened to be our daughter Lacey's 4th birthday, so we were kind of getting ready for a birthday celebration that day. But anyway, I got my husband up, and we went directly to the hospital. And we were in the emergency room with him. Kind of, the doctor had been in, not really knowing what to do at that point. And lo and behold, Dr. Batty was there. And he looked at Taylor and he said, "Get this baby out of here right away. We need to get him to Hastings." And so Dr. Batty made some calls for us, and we got him on the flight for life. Margaret Remmers was working there at the hospital that day, and she rode in the plane with Taylor to the hospital in Hastings at Mary Lanning. And Doug and I went back home, made some arrangements for our other 2 children, and then we loaded up and drove to Hastings. And I stayed there for the duration. But anyway, we got to Hastings, and Taylor saw a pediatric doctor and then an ophthalmologist specialist, and they consulted and put Taylor on very high dosage of antibiotics, IVs, and of course, you know, they put it in his head, and they'd stick one on his wrist and his other wrist and on his tummy and on his legs and feet, and you know, they were moving that around all the time. Anyway, I stayed there with him, and Dr. Batty thought he had spinal meningitis. And actually, it would have developed into spinal meningitis if we hadn't gotten him there right away and got him on those IVs. He was diagnosed with orbital cellulitis, and after being on the IVs for several days, the doctors thought that his swelling would go down, but it didn't. And on about the 9th day, they determined that we needed to make a trip to Grand Island to get a CAT scan. They thought that possibly he might have had a brain tumor, and that's why the swelling wasn't going down. So via ambulance, we went to Grand Island and to the hospital there, and they did the CAT scan. And then we returned back to Hastings Hospital. And the next day, on the 10th day, the swelling finally went down. It just unbelievable how fast that went down. And then on the 11th day, he was released from the hospital, and we went back home. But I really do credit Dr. Batty for really saving Taylor's life. He was just such a great diagnostic doctor. And I have a little more story with this too. My husband's mother, my mother-in-law Elaine Frank, worked for Dr. Batty for a number of years and just held him in such high esteem. So we just thank Dr. Batty for saving our son's life.